Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed, along with Brad and Justin in the chairs. We're going to look at week 7 in review. Want to first of all have you hit the subscribe button, the like button, so that every time we drop a video each week, Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. East Coast time, you get notified and you can listen to the week that was and then the week in advance. First, we're going to bring Justin in, and he's brought 3 trades to the board. And so we want to take a peek at those trades and kind of see what's going on around the Clownhead community and some of the trades that we're seeing out there. And so I'll first kind of throw the baton to Justin. And one of the trades that came through looks like Kyler Murray for Trey Lance and a first. And so what was your take on this trade, Justin, when you first saw it?
My first take was this mystery. Is it Miguel 13 is naming quarterback now. He's trying to win and looks like he's just missing that extra piece since Lance went down. So he gave up Lance and a 23 first rounder for Kyler Murray. At first glance, I was thinking I like the Kyler Murray side. But as I thought about it, I kind of like having that 23 first round pick also, because as we're seeing that these running quarterbacks have that extra ability to get the rushing yards, it really helps them even out and have a better average of scoring versus the more passing quarterback. Kyler Murray does run every once in a while, but I've noticed over this year that he doesn't take off and run as much. He's had a couple games where he's had 30 or 40 yards in that range, but he's really not running much. So I'm kind of leaning towards, let's get on the hype train of Lance for next year, and I would actually sell Lance. I would sell Lance next year if I was Mean Machine for more picks, or maybe even another quarterback. So we'll have to see.
Kicking the can down the lane a little bit. Brad, what's your take on this trade? Which side do you want if you have your choice of the trade?
I think I'd take the Kyler side of this deal, honestly. The guy who's trying to contend got Kyler, and I mean, he's looking pretty set to contend since he lost Trey. So we don't really know what Trey's going to come back into next year or anything yet. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't trust Trey for a big type QB like that right now.
So as I look at this, I guess I'm on both of your sides. I think I would probably be patient. Wouldn't matter which side I have. I'd want to keep my side. I might trade if I thought I could get away with trading Kyler for Trey in the first. I might do that, but I'd be pretty slow to only get that. But I do look back and say Kyler and Trey were drafted at the same spot in a startup. Like if I were to look back at this year, so I'm always really kind of like, okay, I want to make sure that I don't lose value. Like I don't want to trade it a low. So I guess I feel like if I was trading away Trey, I would be selling low, and I'm not really interested. If I was going to try to win now, I guess I feel week 7 or so, this would have been either before or right after week 7. I'm just not sure if I can make money with a team. Like I had somebody today ask me, well, why don't you trade Miles Sanders to me? You're in rebuild. And I'm like, I'm 3-4. I don't know what I am. I really don't know what I am. I know I'm in 8th place, 1 game out of the playoffs. That's what I am. And, you know, he was in 1st place and he's 2 games ahead of me. And yet I'm saying he's got 2 quarterbacks in a 2-quarterback league, and he might be out of it too. You know, we're only, 2 injuries away from him being out of the whole thing. And so I guess I want to see that. So my take is I'd probably stay pat and wouldn't do either. But if you were to hold a gun to my head, I guess I'd take Trey Lance in the first, just because it's two things instead of one. So I guess we kind of all are on different sides. Looking at the next trade, we have Judy and newly starting quarterback Ellinger for Devontae Adams and Chuba Hubbard. Which side, just looking at it briefly, which side do you want, Justin? Which side would you want of this trade?
I would have not have made this trade. Adams and Chuba Hubbard. Adams getting kind of old, long in the tooth, and he probably has 2, maybe 3 years left. And I'm playing somewhat close to what he's doing right now. And Chuba Hubbard, he had a really good game last game. Him and Foreman in the backfield for Carolina. With Jerry Jeudy, it's hit miss with Jerry Jeudy. Past few years, he just can't stay healthy. But this person needed a quarterback. And that's why he went ahead and made this trade to get Sam Ehlinger, in my opinion.
What do you want, Brad, in this trade?
I would definitely take the Adams Hubbard side, honestly. I don't think Judy or Ellinger offer near as much value. Chuba's got a shot to start the whole year, and Devontae's a top 5 fantasy option for 4 more years still. Like, I don't understand it, honestly.
So now I'm going to go exactly opposite of you, Brad. I'm taking Judy and Ellinger, and probably because I want a quarterback, and I want the years. Judy's like, what, 23? Adams 28 or something like that. So I want the 5 years of age, and I have no time for Hubbard. I guess I'm not a big fan. Don't think he's really good at football, and I'm kind of convinced, even with the injury last week, that I just didn't see enough from him to even think that. I would almost say that I think they'll be away from him by week 15. Like, I think that you can't win this year with him and you can't win next year with him. So I guess I do like Adams, and so the best player, quote unquote, in the trade, I guess I see that. But I'll take my stab at thinking that Ellinger is or not. He's a running guy, so maybe he'll be a Jalen Hurts type cheat code guy that maybe can get me some. Let's even dumb it down. Let's say he's Mariota. That's what I guess I could see him being the rest of the way. And if he's Mariota, then I guess I win, and I might be able to, like Justin said, pump him out somewhere else and sell him for some more stuff and kind of create something. So anyway, that's what I guess I would take. But the final trade to look at, big trade. One side gets Ertz, Allen Robinson, Kamara, Austin Eckler. The other side gets Judy. Judy's been trading all over the place. Javonte Williams, Brian Robinson, and a first. Which side do you want? Just looking at it.
If I was in win now, I'll definitely take the Eckler and Kamara side. If I was looking towards the long haul, I would take definitely the Williams, Judy, Robinson at 23 first side. If I like more of the Williams, Robinson at 23 first side over the other side, because all those players are getting older. But for the long haul, I would definitely take the Williams. Win now, I'll take Eckler and Kamara. Easy.
Yeah. What do you think, Brad? Which side do you want?
I like both sides, actually. I think Eckler and Kamara and Ertz are great pieces to have on a contending team, and to give up Javonte to get 2 running backs like that to contend isn't that bad, honestly. And then you get Brian Robinson and a first on top of it the other way. I think it makes sense for both sides. Like Justin said, I think it would depend on if you're rebuilding or contending, which side you would want. Either side would be all right with me.
I'm going to blow you guys away with my take on this, I think. You ready?
Let's go.
I want the Ertz, Robinson, Kamara, Eckler side. And why I say that is I really like Javonte Williams. Everybody knows I do. This is just too much value for me. Like that Kamara and Eckler, I can turn that into so many firsts. It's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
I believe that Eckler's playing out of his mind, right? So he's playing out of his mind. I've got Kamara. So even if some of these guys get hurt, and Ertz is a top 5 tight end, I mean, I just have so much skin on the bone on that side that I don't know what Robinson is. I don't even know what his – I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's anything, and I don't even know if the Commanders can win, so I don't know anything about that. I don't know what the Denver offense is even, who's going to coach there soon, and what their offense is, and I'm not sure that I want 2 pieces of it. And so ultimately, I'm almost giving up some injury guys, some guys that are unproven, and young guys, and a first, and I'm getting like some just studs I can win every week with. Like I feel like you could plug Kamara as RB1, Eckler as RB2, and you know what? If you already have McCaffrey or Barkley or something like that, you are just injury proof. And I mean, I guess I feel like, so while I always say I don't think I could win and know if I could win in week 7, with this trade, I think I'd win. Like I would feel really confident that even if some of my guys get hurt, I'm still okay. Like I'm still going to probably win. Like I'll probably win the running back room every week. Like I don't know if anybody ever beat me unless everybody gets hurt. Like, I mean, you almost have to get decimated. Exactly the right things would have to happen for you to lose. So I'd probably surprise you guys, I would think, by going that direction, but I think I'd rather have that side. So that's the trades that we're looking at today. And so, I always try to bring those out because I feel like that's something to take a look at and the kind of the scope of what's going on around the Clownhead community, around just fantasy football in general. So looking ahead at Beat the Clown in DraftKings, kind of moving into that segment, I want to encourage everybody to make sure that you accept the invite in the bell in DraftKings. This week, my score was 141.54, and I only played against one team, and I actually beat them. So if you want some of my money, you have to play to win. So otherwise, I just take the money of the people that give it to me. Looking at the tournament, however, I finished 4th, so I wasn't very good, comparatively speaking. And Justin was in first place. So this is his second week of winning the whole thing, and he had a 197.94 compared to my 141.54. And what that looks like is he had Burrow as his quarterback, Kenneth Walker as a running back, Josh Jacobs, Lamb, Alec Pierce, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Everett, Eckler, and the Jets defense. So that was the winning lineup for the Clownheads, and a 197 really would have done some damage out there in all the tournament plays as well. And then in second place and getting some money was D-Guz with a 160.34. So that's how the Clownheads tournament went. We had a kind of a small group, 5 this week. So just want to encourage you guys to jump in there and throw $10 to Problem and win some serious money. So that's something to come back and win. Moving on to the Elite 8, and I did some research here today because we're exactly at the halfway point or right before we get started with the playoffs in week 15. It'll be double this week, and so the top 2 winners of each division are what are going to go off to the playoffs, for the large playoffs, and they'll be on a bye week for their divisional playoffs. But the first week they'll all go off and play single head-to-head in the large playoffs. So the first and second teams in each division are who will qualify for that. So I guess I wanted to take a look and see, who we chose versus who's the top teams versus, who's really in first place. So taking a look at Division A, our top scorer this week was Matt Kurek with a 222.76, 5-2 overall record in the 4 spots, and not quite at that top 2. And just want to give a shout out to Jiggles 32 with a 7-0 record, and Wolfpack with a 5-2 record as well as the top 2 seeds right now. In Division B, Oogie Boogie with a 296.33, 5-2 record, number 2 overall. Number 1 overall was Mucho with a 6-1 record, so 1 game behind. Division C, Jason Paro with a 272, and he's got a 2-5 record. number 10 overall with the top score. So, coming out of the low end there with that, the Draft Gurus 7-0, Team Potson 6-1 are the leaders of the clubhouse there. MFL Legend with a 256.50 in Division D, 5-2 record, number 3 overall. And looking there, the top spots are going right now to Johnny Ross with a 7-0 record, ZBM 7 with a 5-2 record. Looking at Division E, Nico 180 with a 304 broke the 300 barrier, 3-4 overall record, number 7 in the seedings right now. So kind of coming out of the playoffs as well. It looks like Extreme Confidence 6-1 and JSL 111 with a 6-1 record are leading the clubhouse there. Division F, KCMO Chiefs 268.13, 5-2 record in the number 3 spot. So just kind of making a push here at the end. And Turkleton 6-1, Astrodog 777, 6-1 are the leaders there in those top 2 spots. Division G, Shippa 19, 273.82, 5-2 record, number 2 overall. The number 1 team there is Fantasy Freak FB with a 6-1 record, so only 1 behind for Shippa. And then our leader is Cowboys and Oots, 341, 0.80, 6-1 record, and number 1 overall. So the only 1 seed to win overall was our top scorer of the week. And then Mystical Child 23 with a 5-2 record is also there. So Brad, what do you notice about Cowboys and Utes? 6-1, only 1 seed to lead the clubhouse to this week.
I mean, their team is good. Guys like Pat Mahomes definitely help. He's got Aaron Jones who's been playing well, and Kenneth Walker who's really stepped up for him. Hawkinson and Kittle at tight end. His receivers kind of didn't do that well this week, and he still made up for it. He had Andy Dalton on the bench with 50 fantasy points and still scored the most. I mean, it seems like right now he can't do much wrong. He's got depth and everything.
Well, it looks like CeeDee Lamb and Olave and Cooper. I mean, his receivers are just stacked with. I mean, Mikael Hardman had a good week, I guess, looking here. But yeah, that I agree with you. I think he's gonna be tough to beat. I mean, I'm looking here, and he, it seems like a strong, 341. Everybody else is really struggling to get 300.
Yeah.
The leader in Division A, 222 by comparison, more than 100 behind. I mean, that's how ridiculous the difference is there. So, yeah, crazy. Clownheads 1 through 5. The leading score in Clownheads 1, River AD 9-8 with a 232.78, 4-3 overall record, number 4 seed. Clownheads 2, JDM 1989 with a 207.88, 2-5 overall record from the 10 spot. Justin, so what's your team like? We're just going to stop a second, and what do you think about your team coming out? Do they have just a strong showing?
Yeah, this past week, my team just had one of the best weeks to date right now, and it just everything clicked this week. Joe Burrow, he went nuts this past week. With Tua, Kenneth Walker as pretty much my number 1 running back right now. Brian Robinson, CD, T. Higgins, DJ Moore finally got a touchdown this week.
I think you can get to the playoffs with 7 losses. So do you feel like you can work your way into the 6 hole?
Nope.
No?
I do not. I really do not. Yes, it'll be really hard for me to do that, especially with the team I built, because I kind of built for the future to be in the back end of the standings, at least for the first few years.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're not expecting to make a push here with the 2 and 5.
I am not. Yeah,
I have my 2 and 5, so I'm still playing hard. I'm trying to get there in some of my leagues anyway, for sure. 2 and 5, I'm trying to. I think I have a reasonable shot. Clownheads 3, River AD back again, 98. He has a 247.15, 3-4 record, number 8 overall. Clownheads 5, we're going to skip ahead. 504 Clyde with 223.68, 4-3 record, number 4 overall. And then shooting back to Clownheads 4, Jack Powers, 280.79. I feel like I mentioned Jack Powers every week. 6-1 record, number 1 overall. And Brad, what do you think of his team?
Honestly, this was the one league in the Clownheads I thought he was going to be his worst team. But his team is performing in this division. Pat Mahomes again is a solid guy to have. He's got Eckler and Aaron Jones, so he's got running backs. His receivers did well this week with Juju and Mike Evans. And then he's got Freiermuth and Ertz at tight end. I mean, he looks good. I think the only issue is he has 2 quarterbacks on his roster, and Matt Ryan is one of them. So I think going forward, he might
that's going to be trouble. 7 weeks of only one quarterback is going to be trouble.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah. So we're going to look at just kind of where we are mid-season for who would get the bye. Jason Parro, 6-1. Jim's Instant Karma, 5-2, and Clownhead 1. Clownhead 2, Vertanen, 19, and the Big Behemoth, 7-0, 6-1. So that's kind of what gets there. In Clownhead 3, Jack Powers, 7-0. Corporation 24, 7-0. I'm going to skip over Clownhead 4 and come back to it here in a second. But Clownhead 5, W. Barrett W, 6-1, and Kerwin 17, 5-2. I'm just going to put a shout out. All 3 of us are in this one, and I actually think I have a reasonable shot to get to the playoffs here and do some damage. I think I'm, don't think that there's any stud team, so it makes it come back there. Want to come back to Clownhead 4 where we were talking about Jack Powers. He's 6-1, right? Brad, you're in second place with a 6-1 record as well. And I know we didn't give you any credit like you could win, but I think you said you were going to win there. And
Yep.
Now with only one quarterback, what do you think your chances are? Do you think, hey, you can be the number 1 seed and you might just, he might have Pat Mahomes, but you have 2 quarterbacks. So
Yeah, I think I have a reasonable shot to at least stay in the top 2 throughout. So I'm liking my odds right now, honestly. But I can't be too cocky because injuries happen, obviously. So
yeah. Well, that's and yeah, I'll be anxious to see how you do there, and kind of think it's funny that we all didn't give you any credit, but you were there. Looking at our scores of how well we are, I want to just kind of give a shout out. Brad, you had 7 points, and that was only because you had the you actually got Cowboys and Utes as your number 1 seed, so you got all 7 points with 1 person. Justin, you had 4 points this week, so you had a 3 and a 1, and I had a 0. So I'm the first guy to ever not have any of the right picks the whole week this week. Everything I picked didn't happen. Like there was 0 right. So I'm the first one of us to get a 0, an actual 0. Like I didn't have anything right this whole week. So that gives you an idea there. Overall standings, Brad, you narrated a lot to me. I'm winning 85 to your 76 to Justin's 51. So that's kind of how we look at the midway point of the year. But I had a 0, so I'm sure it's going to get narrow, the spread. Looking at Clownhead's redraft, we have these 2 redraft leagues. I lost again, this week, so I've been on a losing streak here a couple weeks in a row. I went undefeated the first 4 weeks, and the buys happened, and it got ugly for me. But River AD 9-8, 261.06, 3-4 record, number 9 overall, and then Cheeky Hobson 246.19, 3-4 record, number 10 overall. So I feel like in redraft, people are just kind of coming from the back of the pack and taking swings and winning. And so a couple of shout outs for you guys. I think I played, Justin, did I play you once this week in one of our leagues and you beat me?
Yes.
I think I played you head to head in one league. And I think, Brad, I played you twice head to head this week and you beat me both times. So I was getting real cocky early in the year and beating you guys. We kind of beating the snot out of you. I think I was beating you every time. And now I think I just started losing. And typically I win by a week, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna have like team meetings with my guys and explain to them that, you guys I shouldn't lose to. But that I digress. Kind of as we transition here to our final, some of our final observations from the week. I just want to start off with some maybe interesting things that at least pique my knowledge, my curiosity of what you guys think about situations. And we'll start with last night's quarterback situation with Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones, and what you guys think will happen going forward. Brad, what do you think about the quarterback fiasco in New England, and who do you think goes forward?
I personally think it'll still be Mac Jones. I think Belichick has a little bit more faith than the Patriots organization is letting on in him. So I don't think they'll turn it over to Zapp yet.
Gotcha. What do you think, Justin? What's your takeaway from that whole situation?
I mean, it's pretty much exactly what Brad said. But with it kind of seemed that Mac Jones's ankle was bothering him a little bit, especially on one of the slides that he made during the first half, just right before they took him out. So I think I think it'd be good for him to sit out another week or two. So I think it's Zappy.
I was really just confused by the whole thing, to be honest with you. I mean, of course, at halftime, I heard that that both of the quarterbacks were going to play in the second half, and then they didn't. And then after the game, I heard the presser that Jacoby Myers was interviewed, and he was very frustrated. He used the words where it really sucks when my brother gets done that dirty. But I don't know if that was done dirty by the coaches, the staff, or the fans. I'm not sure what was done dirty, but he was not happy that Mac Jones got done dirty by somebody, and so he was very frustrated by that. And I guess I'm concerned about, wonder what the locker room is like, because people kind of dig in there, like the defenders, let's say, defensive guys will say, hey, who do you think gives you a better chance to win? Like, who do you want to see out there? They'll start asking receivers, and all of a sudden you have these wedges in the locker room. And I'm just kind of shocked that Bill, I mean, he's way smarter than me and runs the team, has way more knowledge than I do and a lot more rings. But I'm just surprised that he would let that kind of stuff fester, because that just seems very odd to me, about how it's kind of all going down. Living here in the area, like living right here in the area. And a shout out, honestly, want to shout out for the Patriots. They just honored a couple of the police officers that died right near my house. I had there was a shooting of 2 police officers about 2 weeks ago, and that was less than a mile from my house, and right beside ESPN is where I live. And they had 50 of the police officers here in our local town went to the game last night as compliments of the Patriots. So congratulations to them, and the tribute was really awesome too. I got to see that in the field, so that was cool.
Very classy. I like that.
So I want to give them a shout out as well. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious as to what all happened there. Matt Ryan lost his job, and Charlie Weiss is a guy that I listened to a lot during the weeks, and used to be the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady, and is good friends with Tom Brady. He's really frustrated by how Matt Ryan got done dirty. So I guess wonder what you guys think. Brad, what do you think of the Matt Ryan turning it over to Ehlinger? Are you surprised, or what do you think about that?
Honestly, yeah, I'm pretty surprised. I don't think Ehlinger is an upgrade even with a 40-year-old Matt Ryan. So I'm very surprised, honestly.
What about you, Justin? Are you surprised?
Actually, I'm not. I am not really surprised. From what Matt Ryan has done this season, I don't think Sam Ehlinger can do any worse. I guess Matt Ryan's dealing with the separation in the shoulder, and more likely it's affecting him pretty well, from him to be able to play to his highest potential right now, even though he's getting older. With, um, but I can definitely see them trying out Nick Foles also. They might give it a couple games, 2 or 3 games with Sam Ellinger, see what he does. I mean, he's the head coach. Is also fighting for his job there. Starting off on how terribly it's been. So I think it'll be 2 or 3 weeks. Sam Ellinger, see what he does. Maybe bring in Nick Foles.
I too, I did hear today that Nick Foles would not play, but I kind of agree with you, Justin. I think it'll be Ellinger until they think that they can't win with him, and then they have to just keep. They're fighting for jobs. I mean, even the GM is fighting for a job. I think the owners losing patience with the losing situation. So, just kind of think that they want to win pretty badly. So I agree with you, and I'm surprised at how they handled it. I'm surprised that he didn't get injured. And we'll talk a little bit about another quarterback that I think may fade off into the sunset as well. I'm surprised that they didn't just make it be about a shoulder separation and a retirement. I'm surprised that they said, you're just done. Like, we don't care if you're hurt or not hurt. You're never going to play for us again type of attitude. Like, that felt really strong to me. And kind of interestingly enough that the 49ers called about, trading for Matt Ryan today and wondering if they, could work a deal out to be a backup, for him to be the backup to Jimmy G. I mean, so, they at least were interested in kicking tires. So I thought that was an interesting caveat to the whole thing. And maybe we'll see some trade like that go down. But it was interesting that how firm that the organization is. It seems like they're running through people. They ran through Brissett. They ran through Rivers. I mean, it seems like Rivers was an amicable leave, but and there's more to the Luck story too. Like, Luck doesn't want to be part of the organization. Like, there's some weirdness there, and we see the Manning cast every Monday night, and there's a reason he's not part of the organization either. Like, I feel like he likes Denver, not Indianapolis, and so there's just a weird deal there where people don't seem to love the organization. Edgerrin James likes the Cardinals, not the Indianapolis Colts. So it's just kind of weird how people don't identify. Marshall Faulk doesn't identify with them, and I don't know. It just kind of feels weird to me that nobody identifies, with them. And the receiver, even that just retired this year, we don't even see him, and he spent his whole career there. I don't know. It's weird that nobody really wants to be a Colt. I guess Marvin Harrison maybe, but it doesn't feel like anybody's really too close to the organization. So, staying on the quarterback theme, PJ Walker gets another start, and I guess I'm just going to throw my 2 cents out there first. I think you beat Tampa Bay, you deserve another shot. Like, you just you keep starting until you don't. I think I would be doing the same thing if I was Steve Wilkes trying to fight for a job. I'm going to keep rewarding guys that win, right? I want winners. So what do you guys think about Walker, and will he keep starting, or what do you think happens next?
Well, I think it's PJ Walker's job until he gets hurt or loses it. I think he's the best guy for the job right now from what they want to do. They're obviously not trying to win right now. So, I mean, I see Sam Darnold out next year, and also Sam Bradford, and I can definitely see them taking quarterback with one of the top picks.
Yeah. What do you think, Brad? What do you think we'll see the rest of the way?
Yeah, I agree. I think PJ Walker's the type of quarterback you want if you're trying to, rebuild. So someone you can kind of get out of there after a year and roll with, win or lose.
Yeah, great. Just kind of a reminder, don't need to touch on it too much, but Deshaun Watson coming back here in week 12, I guess week 11. So we're getting close to when he comes back. And so just kind of as the bye weeks start stacking up, we're we're into week 8, and so we're only a couple of weeks back until we see the Deshaun Watson return. How about the New York Jets? Another big trade that happened this just recently. We have Michael Carter. Now we have James Robinson, and James Robinson kind of phased out in Jacksonville this past weekend, and now it seems like there's a role for him in New York. I guess I'm anxious to hear what you guys' take is. I think I have an opinion, but what do you guys think, Justin, happens with the backfield in the Jets world?
Yeah, so I think it's Michael Carter's job, at least for the first couple of weeks till James Robinson learns and gets down a playbook well enough to possibly take him over. But I do think within the next 3 weeks, he probably will take over as the first, second, possibly even a little work on third down back. But definitely see Michael Carter leading the way till then and taking over most of the third down work.
What do you think, Fred?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think they kind of brought Robinson in to pretty much keep the same thing they were doing with Brees and Carter. So I think they're going to kind of split work just like they were before, honestly. Yeah.
I feel like Carter is he always finds a way to be a prominent player as the secondary back in the backfield. So I think he'll always score, right? And I think if we go back to his college days with Javonte, I think he always figured out a way. He wasn't the feature. Javonte was the feature, but he always was prominent. I think when Brees Hall took over the backfield, he wasn't the feature, but he still scored, right? And so I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're right, Justin. This week, I think it'll be Carter's run, and they'll just be getting Robinson acclimated. But I think as soon as next week, Robinson's just a good football player. He's kind of outside of the norm, and he's just pretty good. And he's good at everything, meaning he's good at pass pro. He's good at receiving out of the backfield, and he's good at running between the tackles. And so I think you'll see the second quarter spell. I think Carter will make the most of his 10 touches. He'll get 10 touches a week, and he'll average 4 or 5 yards a touch, and then a couple receptions for a couple big plays, and they're not afraid to put him in even to score a couple of times, and he'll be a scorer. Like he'll get points, and yet Robinson will be the workhorse, so to speak. I think that's how it'll end, as far as that goes. So I guess I kind of agree with you guys. I think that's where it goes, and then I'm anxious to see what happens when Hall comes back next year. Like what happens to Robinson, because he'll still be under contract. So it'll be interesting to see, in the final year of his rookie deal will be next year. So it'll be like Robinson's rookie year. So we'll see what happens there with all those guys in the same backfield. What tends to happen. The Commanders' backfield kind of feels really crazy to me, and that's McKissick, Gibson, and Robinson. And I think anybody that thought they knew what this backfield was going to look like is probably saying, no, well, I didn't really view it this way. And so I guess my question is, will it continue to be Robinson being the feature back, Gibson being the third down back and some play, and McKissick just like being the fade into the sunset? We don't even care about you back anymore. Is that what you see going forward, the same kind of thing? Or do you think McKissick will come back and have a role again?
I think McKissick is. I've noticed they're putting him in there when they're wanting to go up tempo, very quick. So I definitely see him doing that. They're just doing Gibson 30 there. See 5 to 10 touches a game with him. But yeah, I see Robinson being the workhorse back there now.
So just kind of for context, last week, McKissick had 16% of the snaps. Gibson had 39% of the snaps. And I think Robinson had the most. But But I mean, McKissick was just kind of faded out. Like I was shocked, kind of like you got the James Robinson kind of treatment there. And I guess I kind of think maybe that's where it goes from here on out. Maybe that's what happens. Oh yeah, 47 for Brian Robinson. So I guess I feel like Gibson and Robinson were very close in their percentage of snaps, and then McKissick was basically an afterthought. Like he was nothing. He was 12%. He didn't get anything. And I don't know. What do you think, Brad? Is that what you have it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
he's old. I mean, I guess he's just kind of hit that 28-year-old wall where you're just 28 and it's over. I think he went from being real good last year to being a zero this year, and I think that's kind of like Melvin Gordon. It feels like he just hit a wall too. And with Mike Boone going on IR, I think you're going to see Latavius Murray take all kinds of stuff. I was really thinking, I heard some stuff right before we came on the show tonight that Cam Akers to Denver is a thing. So just kind of keep your ears out for that might be something that happens here in the next day or two. So we'll see if we have anything on that. But they apparently made a run at Christian McCaffrey as well. I'm not sure what that would have done, but that would have been interesting in Denver. They're getting desperate over there. But
Yeah.
Brings me to Russ Wilson and Rippon. Wondered what you thought there of the quarterback situation in Denver.
Well, Rippon is doing what Russell Wilson has done this year for what, $240 million less.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much you're paying $244 million to a backup quarterback, and you're starting him. I think Russell Wilson is maybe has too big of a head right now. I think could affect his play. So definitely keep an eye out if he can get himself more centered, to put it nicely. I definitely think he can turn it around, but if he continues on what he's done and doing, he's not going to be in the league much longer.
A lot of involved in Russ. It'll be interesting to see. I'm going to make the call here as we tape that he will not play this week in London. That he will be, or Germany, I guess, is where the game is this week. I think he will not play this week. I think we'll see Rippon again this week, and he's just not right. And I think I did not hear if he went. They left last night to go overseas, so we'll see what happens. But just kind of an interesting week, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him not play this week. So I think we'll see something else. Looking at a couple teams, I just wanted to get your takes on. I guess before we go there, the Lions receivers are. What are you hearing about the Lions receivers? I mean, I feel like Amon-Ra was hurt, went off, and then he came back. Reynolds is hurt. Chark's on the IL. We've got Jamison Williams on the IL, ready to return. What's going on with their receiving core? Does anybody know anything? I mean, I'm really asking because I don't have any good intel on the receiving core.
Yeah, I'm the same boat you are. I know they pulled Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the game the other night to check him for a concussion. No, they came out and said no signs of concussion, but they did not like the way he was standing, from what I heard. So they told him he was out and done for the game. I'm hoping that they can turn this around so we're not dealing with all of a sudden you don't like the way a player's standing when he shows signs of not having a concussion, saying he's okay, passing all the tests that they've lined out to give the players, so let him play. Is my opinion on that.
Well, I think they're just nervous about, with things in the concussion protocol, um, and actually that brings up another point. I wanted to hear this. I was listening to Dean Bambino. He's a NFL official, and he usually goes over all the questionable plays. And there was an ejection last night. I don't know if you guys saw the ejection last night for the blindside hit. Did either of you guys see that?
No.
It was on an interception, and after the interception, there was a guy turned around and found a defender, and had to put a nice block on him. And I guess it was a legitimate play that I would have done as a football player. So I guess I felt like it wasn't crazy. And in this trumped up world, you have to probably throw a flag, and I got that, but they actually ejected him for just a regular football hit. It wasn't like an outlandish hit, or didn't stand over him, or there's nothing outlandish about it. And I guess I come away and say I also saw on Sunday the play where it was a reception that Bellinger had, and he got his eye socket broken, and they couldn't figure out that was a face mask. Like, there was no penalty, and one cannot get their hand through the face mask to break an eye socket without having a face mask. Like, it's just an impossibility. And he's laying on the ground, and he was the guy catching the ball. So it wasn't like an off the ball kind of penalty. He caught the ball, and he was tackled by breaking his eye socket, and we couldn't figure out that wasn't even a penalty. And yet we're throwing guys out, ejecting them for like a shoulder to shoulder block.
Yep.
Because it was considered a blindside block, where the guy turned around and blocked somebody. Well, that's what you do when you intercept the ball. Like, that's a real play. Like, that's just, you turn around and block people. Like, that's what you do. And I'm like, wow, the NFL is kind of crazy, like, to have those two things. So anyway, I digress, but that was the irritation in my mind that Bellinger broke his eye socket, and it wasn't even, nobody's really even that concerned about it. And yet he's out for the year. And the eye is a huge thing. I mean, I don't know. You break your eyes, and that doesn't sound good to me. Like, it just even sounds bad. And we wear helmets, and so there's no way to break your eye without getting poked in the eye. Like, I don't know. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
And the only way to get poked in the eye is a face mask. Like, that's a real penalty. I don't know. It's just,
it takes quite a bit of force. I mean, I don't need me personally. I hope he gets back on the field. I don't think it's going to be this year. 100% positive on that. But he might not be able to play again. He might not be able to see out.
I didn't know it got serious. Like, I didn't know what the severity of it was. I did hear he was out for the year, but it's just baffling to me how that's not even a penalty. Like, I just don't even understand how it cannot be a penalty. Like, that has to be a penalty. It just has to be a penalty. Like, that. That's what I want the NFL to do. I want the NFL to penalize those kind of hits, because that's outlandish, right? Like, that's an outlandish hit. You have to almost try to break somebody's eye. Like, you have to almost do something. Anyway.
Yeah.
Looking at three teams this week as we finish up kind of the observations of the week, I wanted to just highlight three NFC teams and kind of get your opinions of them. The Packers, they're traveling to Buffalo this week. They're double-digit underdogs for the first time in Aaron Rodgers' career. So, Hall of Fame career. What do you think of the Packers? Are they in trouble? Is Aaron Rodgers almost done? Will he quit on the team? Will he get hurt, have a hamstring injury, and call it quits? What do you think is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers? Start with you, Brad. If you're
Yeah, I mean, I think they're not really contenders anymore. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback he's been, and he doesn't have the weapons he's had in the past. So, their defense isn't even playing that bad, and I don't see it, being that great.
What do you think, Justin? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, same. I really don't see Aaron Rodgers maybe faking the injury, but wouldn't surprise me. He's can be a little childish at sometimes. So we'll have to see. But if he does end up playing it out, um, I don't see them winning maybe 2, 3 more games.
So I guess I don't think that he would fake an injury, but I guess I think that as we get to week 8 in the NFL, there are nagging injuries, and at some point you make a decision: do I want to play with a broken finger, or do I want to shut it down? Do I want to play with a torn hamstring, or do I want to shut it down? Do I want to play with a knee contusion, or do I want to shut it down? And I guess I think at this point in Aaron Rodgers' career, we might see Jordan Love. Like, if an ankle tweak happens, I mean, it gets to view the Michael Thomas syndrome. Like, I think, would it be shocking to me if, we tweak out an ankle? Let's call it a day, and let's see what Jordan Love can do with this cast of characters. I could almost see him saying that. You think I'm bad? Why don't you take a look at what's about to happen? Kind of that attitude. And I guess I think we're at that point, where we were a couple of weeks ago with Matt Ryan. I think we're at the point where it wouldn't shock me. I don't think they'll do him quite like Matt Ryan got done in Atlanta, or in Indy, but I think it'll be like I could see him shutting it down type of thing. Like, he has a sore back or something, and we just kind of back spasms and we call it good. So that's kind of my take on it. The 49ers, I mean, involved in probably the biggest trade midseason that I've ever experienced was getting Christian McCaffrey. I mean, like he virtually was number 2, let's say, overall in one quarterback league startup fantasy. Like he's a top pick, so to speak, and he got traded before the deadline. I mean, what do you think that does for the 49ers? Are they now Super Bowl contenders, or what does it do for them?
I definitely put a little, gives them a little extra boost, especially with how they run their offense. They enjoy running the ball there, so a lot of wear and tear on those running backs there. Have to see what happens with Elijah Moore when he comes back off of IR here in a few weeks, I believe, and I'll just have to wait and see. Does he take over? Does he take over as the number 1 running back? There's the question. But with the San Francisco defensive back core, they're facing quite a few injuries there. So they are not as strong back there as they started the year off. I think they give up more points in the last 4 weeks than previous 4 weeks. I think they gave up, I don't know, maybe less than, I can't remember exactly what they were saying, but definitely their defensive core is beat up a little bit.
What do you think, Brad, about Christian McCaffrey owner? What do you think about Christian McCaffrey?
I like the trade. Like, I think it makes the 49ers very dynamic on offense. They can kind of do whatever they want with their offense. They can line up Deebo at running back. They can line up McCaffrey at slot. They can line up Kyle Juszczyk at tight end. Like, they just have a bunch of players that can go everywhere, and I think it's going to be hard to stop a team like that you just don't know where they're going to be on the field.
Yeah, I think, and Kyle's strength is really to create mismatches. Now, Juszczyk actually, I believe, is going to be out. He's having surgery this week, so he's going to be out for a minute. But and they actually use him a lot. I think I saw that he was on 21 special teams plays last week as well. So he plays a lot, 40 plays of offense and 20 plays of special teams. So like 60 plays overall, like the most of any player on the whole team. So they're going to miss something there, and that may make a difference this coming week in the letdown of already having McCaffrey. I could see McCaffrey having a great week and them losing. Like, so just throw that there, that it would be something that wouldn't shock me, is them getting a loss and yet McCaffrey having a pretty good week. I think the holes are just gapingly big to run through. And I can only imagine that McCaffrey in daylight is probably unbelievable what's about to happen there. Like, I just think that might be off the charts. Like, I think I might be able to run through the holes, and so if I could get there, I can only imagine what Mr. Christian McCaffrey can do with these kind of openings. What he'll be able to do. So I'm excited to see. And Jimmy, you'll probably be told you checked down to him like 17 times, and I'm not sure how the Debo and Ayuk part of the offense do, but I think that the Kittle and Christian McCaffrey part of the offense will be off the charts. Like, I feel like he's just like Kyle's guy. Like, I think Kyle just wants Christian McCaffrey. And like, while he's system over player, I think he's almost like system over player except for McCaffrey. Like, I kind of think it's going to go like that. Like, I think it's going to be system over player except for CMC. He just gets all the stuff. Like, I can see it. So I'm excited to see. I think that those kind of teams, though, tend to not win. Just at the end, something happens, something doesn't quite go right. Maybe McCaffrey gets hurt. I don't know what it is, and I think that's how Eli Mitchell is the cuff. I think people are thinking, oh, Jeff Wilson will be the cuff. No. The bye is next week. So if McCaffrey got hurt in week 8, week 10, Eli Mitchell's back, and so the only cuff you need really for McCaffrey now is Eli Mitchell. Wilson's an afterthought. He's not anything anymore. Like, his days are over. Like, and I own him, and so I get it, but his days are over. The last team I wanted to ask you guys about is because I bet on them to win the Super Bowl and actually made a mistake and bet on them twice to win the Super Bowl. So I've got 2 bets on them to win the Super Bowl. Are the Vikings, and I feel like they're hitting their stride, and I guess I feel like it's almost working out like a champ for them. Like, all the rest of the teams, barring the 49ers, but they have a weak secondary, and I guess I like Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson against San Francisco an awful lot. Like, I just think that there isn't really an answer for that whole situation, there. Like, I think there's just nothing for that situation, and Dalvin Cook might not be Christian McCaffrey, but he's not bad either. Like, there just isn't an answer for what the Vikings have on offense and defense there. So what do you guys think of the Vikings? Is my bet at least growing in quality?
Yeah, I really like them to win their division at least. Definitely, I think they will be in the playoffs. Just gotta wait to see if their team can escape the injury bug. Definitely would have to highly weigh on that part. But I think we know that just every year, Dalvin Cook does go down with something. So depending on when and if he does, it definitely weigh heavily on that team. So I like it. I made a bet for them to win the division myself, and have to wait and see. I sure like Justin Jefferson this year, so.
Well, and I should mention the Eagles are really good. I mean, but there's no guarantee for them to get the bye. But I think that they have got as good a shot as anybody. Because I'm thinking maybe the Cowboys will get at the Eagles a couple times, and the Giants might beat the Eagles once, and there might be just enough there to create some losses. And if the Vikings get that bye and get to have the extra week off, I think that'll play a role. Who gets that bye will matter. What do you think, Brad? What's your Vikings take?
I mean, I definitely like the Vikings and what they're doing. They just kind of remind me of what the Titans were a few years back when they had, their top running option, their top receiving option. They still get stifled every now and then, and it really depends on which team shows up that week.
No, I agree with that. Well, I guess we've really broke it down. Week 7 and week 8's approaching. We only have 2 bye teams this week. We have the Chargers and the Chiefs. So big time quarterbacks on bye this week. But beyond that, and Austin Eckler, I guess, also, there in Kelsey. So a couple of skill position guys that are on bye. But we only have 2 teams. So 30 starting quarterbacks out there. And I guess we we do get everybody off to the week, and good luck in the second half of the season. You've been listening to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. That's Justin, Brad, I'm Ed. We'll see you next time.